This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
GSMC Podcast Network, and as always, I'm your host, Jesse Tapia, and for today's show, we got a good one. We're going to talk about the Thursday night game from last night, talk about Washington versus Dallas. We'll talk about the NBA games from last night also. Philly versus Boston was a big one. Let's see, what other big game was there yesterday? Oh yeah, Chicago versus Denver. That was a close one right there. I think Denver won, they didn't win off of a buzzer beater, but I think they hit a game-winning shot with a few seconds left. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the rest of them too. Then segment 3, we'll talk about, I'll make my Week 13 picks, pretty much talk a little bit about each game and what I think of it. And then for the last segment of the show, we're going to talk about the World Cup draw, Tiger Woods, and anything else going on in sports. We'll probably even talk about Jimbo Fisher going to Texas A&M too. He got a big old contract. But like I said, we'll talk about that later. So let's get into it right now. The Thursday night football game. Let's see right here. So Washington went into Dallas. Dallas won that one 38-14. Honestly, I was pretty surprised that not exactly that Dallas won this game, but just the fact of how many points they put up on the board. I mean, 38 points. Like I said, I think it was their last 3 games without Zeke since he's been suspended. They only put up 22 points combined, I believe it was. And then for them to go out and put up 38 on Washington was just kind of surprising to me, just because Dak Prescott really hasn't played that well. As I've been saying, I think he's more of like when Ezekiel Elliott's not out there, I think he's more like a poor man's Alex Smith when he's out there throwing the ball. I mean, because even yesterday, he went 11 of 22 throwing the ball, 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. And like for a team that put up 38 points and your quarterback only throws for 102 yards, I mean, that's pretty crazy to hear, isn't it? I mean, to me, it's almost like really surprising. But Alfred Morris was the star of that game. He had 27 carries, 127 yards, and a touchdown. Pretty much, if you listen to the Fantasy Football Podcast, I was talking about this game and pretty much the fantasy implications. And turns out my predictions were like the complete opposite of what happened. I thought that Washington's offense were going to be the players who were going to be doing well in fantasy, and it turns out that it was Dallas's offense, and Redskins' offense really didn't do too well. I mean, Kirk Cousins, he had 251 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Perine had 12 carries, 38 yards. I think he left the game with a concussion too. Ryan Grant had 5 receptions for 76 yards and a touchdown. Jameson Crowder only had 5 catches for 67 yards. And Josh Dotson, he only had 3 receptions for 26 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, that's all. It's really not that good from the Redskins offense. I mean, Kirk Cousins, I guess you could say he had a decent fantasy game. But as far as his real stats go, I mean, the 2 interceptions kind of held him back. But other than the 2 interceptions, he really played well. He got sacked 4 times, so he didn't really have all the time in the world to throw the ball. But yeah, like I said, Dak Prescott went 11 of 22, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. No interceptions this time. He was only sacked once. And that's a big difference from the last few games, because I think I can't remember exactly how many times he was sacked before, but I know that the offensive line wasn't playing well at all, and he was hitting the ground a lot or just constantly under pressure. So for a game like this against your division rival too, I mean, now it's a big win right here, because now Dallas is 6-6, Washington's 5-7. But yeah, we'll talk more about these two teams later on in the segment. But yeah, back to the stats. You got Alfred Morris, like I said, 27 carries, 127 yards, 1 touchdown. Rod Smith, another touchdown for him, 10 carries, 27 yards, 1 touchdown right there. And then Dez Bryant. I didn't think Dez Bryant was really going to do well at all in this game. I really think he's overrated. I think it's safe to say. Yeah, it's like that's not something like, it's not like a hot take anymore. I think it's not common knowledge, but I feel like the majority of people are starting to think, you know what, Dez Bryant might be overrated. Not saying he's a bad receiver, but he's not a top 5 receiver or anything like that. Not even like top 6 or top 7. I think he's more like the 10, 9, 8 range, I'd feel. But who knows? Maybe that'll be a new segment right there. We'll do some wide receiver rankings on a different show. But yeah, like I said, 5 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Their next leading receiver was Tyrell, or what's his name? Terrence. Is it Terrence Williams? Let me double check right here. Let me get it up. I think it's Terrence Williams. Terrence Williams, he had 2 catches for 21 yards, no touchdowns. And then Jason Witten had 1 catch for 8 yards, but that was a touchdown right there. So just really, I mean, Dallas was pretty much run the football, run the football, run the football. I'm sure Jason Garrett realized, you know what, we can't win. We can't have Dak carry us on his back because he's not going to be able. He's not that type of quarterback that's going to be able to do it on his own. So Dallas really needs to be a run the ball first type of football team, and that's exactly what they were against the Redskins. And you know what, they put up one of their highest point totals of the season. I think that might be their highest. Let me double check through their schedule right here. So 38. Let's see. I think that's going to be, I think that might be their, actually against the 49ers, they put up 40. So, so that's, their highest point total came against the 49ers on October 22nd when they beat them 40-10. But this was their second highest point total. And next week they got the Giants. So the Giants are probably, if not for the Browns, the worst team in the league right now. So now they benched Eli Manning, so you're going to see Davis Webb or Geno Smith go up against the Cowboys. It's in New York next week. So we'll see how it all plays out for them. But this was a big game, like I said, for Dallas. I mean, Dak Prescott, he really didn't have statistically all that big of a game, but for pretty much him to get the win on Thursday night on national TV against the division rivals and pretty much able to silence the doubters for at least a week. Because, I mean, in reality, we all know still that Dak Prescott isn't the best quarterback. He's not really, like I said, he's not really what he showed us when he was with Ezekiel Elliott was back there. Now when he's out there by himself with a guy like Alfred Morris or Rod Smith back there, he's more of, like I said, a game manager. So we're going to see how it all plays out for him. But like I said, a big win right now. Let's see where they are in the standings. I think they are, let me see, playoffs. Here we go. Right now they're 2 games back. They're a game and a half back at Atlanta right now in the 6th spot. But Atlanta's got Minnesota. So Dallas might be able to. It's actually kind of interesting for Dallas now that I think about it, because right now Atlanta's 7-4. Okay, and say they lose to the Vikings, which I think they will. But like I said, we'll talk more about my Week 13 predictions in the 3rd segment. Say the Vikings beat Atlanta, then Dallas is only a game back of Atlanta. Seattle plays Philly on Sunday night, so that's going to be a tough one for them. So if Philly or Seattle loses that one, and then let's see who Detroit's got this week. Let me double check that right now. But if Seattle and Atlanta were going to lose, Dallas is only 1 game back of each team. And then, like I said, they got the Giants next week. This week, the Lions got Baltimore. Baltimore's favored in that one. It's in Baltimore also. So that's a tough game right there. There's a good chance that Atlanta, Seattle, and Detroit lose. So that might that'll bring Dallas back to about a game back of the 6th spot. And you never know. Like I said, they're playing the Giants next week. That should be an easy win right there. Let me see who they got after the Giants. Let's see. They got the Raiders. And actually, after the week after they play the Raiders, they'll get Zeke back against the Seahawks, and then they'll have him back against the Eagles too. So you know what? If the Cowboys can pull this win out and then beat the Raiders too on Sunday, that's gonna be on Sunday Night Football also in Oakland. If they can manage to pull those games out right there, they'll be 8-6. You got Ezekiel Elliott back. You got a good chance of beating the Seahawks in Dallas. And then we always know that those divisional games, especially against Philly, you never know. I mean, Philly blew them out. What was it, 37-9 2 weeks ago? And I guess you could say that was because Philly is the best team in the league, but also, I mean, with Ezekiel Elliott out there, I'm sure the score is not going to end up 37-9, and they're going to play a whole lot better. The team as a whole, because you see, once Zeke went out, like obviously he has no effect on the defense or special teams, but once he went out, it's almost like the team's morale pretty much shifted to a bad place, because really like I said, once he came out, no one was playing good. Everyone was playing really poorly. So once he comes back, maybe they'll get that momentum shift that they need. And like I said, they have a good chance of beating Seattle with Zeke, and then in a divisional game against Philly, you really can't predict it because those rivalry games are always close. So we'll see how it all plays out. But right now the Cowboys are in a good spot. I'm just they in order for them to make the playoffs, I think they do. It's not really I think they do. They have to beat the Giants and the Raiders. If they don't beat the Giants and the Raiders, then I don't think they're going to be able to catch up to the Falcons or Seattle. And it's going to be difficult for them. But, if they manage to pull out these next 2 games, then watch out for the Cowboys. They might have a chance. And then, if they make the playoffs and they got Ezekiel Elliott back, I'm not going to say they're going to make the Super Bowl or anything like that, but they can make some noise in the playoffs. Last year, they got their first taste of the playoffs, Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott. They honestly should have beat the Cowboys last season in the playoffs, but the defense choked right there. It really didn't do well at all. But it's just going to be interesting to see. I mean, if they do get these 2 games and they're able to beat the Seahawks and the Eagles somehow, You know what? Dallas in the playoffs, 10-6. There's a good chance right there. They might be a dangerous team going forward. I don't think that they'll make the NFC Championship if they manage to make the playoffs with Zeke back there. Just because I think even with them out there right now so far this season, Philly, the Saints, the Rams, and the Vikings are all better teams. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But as for the Redskins, let's look at them. Like I said, right now they're 5-7, and whatever playoff hope they had left was pretty much done. They got the Chargers next week, then they got the Cardinals, the Broncos, and the Giants. So I mean, the Chargers are most definitely their most difficult team on that schedule coming forward. They have 4 games left, but if they're able to beat the Chargers, I mean, they can beat the Cardinals, they can beat the Broncos, and they can beat the Giants. So I mean, they got a good chance of finishing 9-7. At least there's a chance, and if you finish 9-7, you still have a chance, I guess, to make the playoffs. But like I said, I think it's going to take at least 10 wins in order to get into the playoffs this season in the NFC. I mean, if they played in the AFC, it'd be a whole different story. But like I said, it's just the NFC right now is the best conference by far, and you're going to have to pretty much be at your best constantly in order to make the playoffs this season. So right now, if I had to make a bet on it, I'm betting that the Redskins season is over. They're not making the playoffs, even if they were to win these next 4 games. But now pretty much you go from here. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the Redskins do this offseason, really. I mean, like I said, the season's probably done. Highly doubt they make the playoffs. If they do, they'll probably get bounced in the first round. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do at quarterback, because it's pretty much the majority of people are thinking that Kirk Cousins is definitely going to be gone after the season. I think he is too. So, I mean, where's he going to go? It's kind of up for debate. It was always thought that, Kirk Cousins is going to go to San Francisco to play for the 49ers, but they made that trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, giving up their second rounder. So it's pretty much Kirk Cousins. Where's the guy going to go? Maybe he can end up in Jacksonville. If he were to end up in Jacksonville, then that's I don't want to say Super Bowl contending team. I mean, it might be, because like I said, they're probably going to make the playoffs. Jacksonville, they're probably going to make the playoffs. They're 7-4 right now, I believe. I'll double check that. But yeah, right now I believe they're 7-4. And with Blake Bortles out there, they don't have all that much of a Blake Bortles. Jacksonville's such a weird team. It's hard for me to put into words. But yeah, to confirm, they're 7-4. But yeah, it's just hard for me to put into words, because they're 7-4. But it's like they're playing against their quarterback week after week. The guy, I think he holds them back big time. And me saying that, yeah, they're still 7-4, and Blake Bortles is the quarterback. But imagine how much better they'd be if they had Kirk Cousins at quarterback, or even one of the rookie quarterbacks coming out. I don't like Blake Bortles at all as a quarterback. Even a guy like Eli Manning. So you know what? Jacksonville, they have the best defense in the league right now. Okay, Allen Robinson will be back next year, hopefully. Marquise Lee's shown that he can be the number 2 guy, and then Allen Hurns is just a nice, consistent option that you can throw to whenever he's out there. So, I mean, they got that. They got Leonard Fournette, who's going to be one of the best running backs in the league in a couple of years. So when you got guys like that, you throw a guy like Kirk Cousins out there. I mean, Kirk Cousins going from the Redskins to the Jaguars would obviously be an upgrade for him. The Jaguars by far have a better team than the Redskins. They got a better defense. They got a better receiving core, and they got a better running back. I'm not really too familiar with the Jacksonville's offensive line, but I mean, for them to be 7-4, they got to be playing at least half decent in order, because without a good offensive line too, you really have no chance. But yeah, it's going to be, I'm almost positive that Blake Bortles is going to be gone this year. I mean, it's just Jacksonville. I'm talking about Kirk Cousins really, but if Kirk Cousins was to go to Jacksonville, then that's a playoff team right there. They're going to win the division next season if Kirk Cousins go there, unless Andrew Luck, that guy comes back. Because if when Andrew Luck comes back and he's healthy, then that division belongs to him, honestly. It doesn't matter what team you got out there. That guy is a top 5 quarterback when he's out there and playing. He makes everyone around him better. I mean, he took the Colts to the AFC Championship. Yeah, they got blown out by New England in that whole little Deflategate type of thing, but it didn't really matter. I think the Colts' rush defense was what killed him in that game. I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure LeGarrette Blount, if it was him, might have been a different running back. You know how Bill Belichick likes to switch him up, but I'm pretty sure LeGarrette Blount did whatever he wanted against that rush defense. So we're going to see how it is next season. It's going to be interesting, but another team you could see I wonder what other team you could actually see Kirk Cousins go to right now. Jacksonville's the biggest team in mind. Maybe you could see him go to a team like Denver. I think wherever Eli Manning ends up, if he ends up in Jacksonville, you'll probably see Kirk Cousins in Denver. And if Eli Manning ends up in Denver, then you'll probably see Kirk in Jacksonville. But it's going to be, like I said, it's just going to be interesting to see where everyone ends up. I mean, Kirk Cousins, it's looking like he is going to be the highest paid quarterback of all time. I don't really agree with it, but if someone's going to pay him that much, then someone's going to pay him that much. And maybe if he were to go to a team like Jacksonville, that him being the highest paid quarterback in the league would It would justify it, I guess, because like I said, he's going to win a lot of games if he goes to Jacksonville. I don't think Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback or like a top 5 quarterback, but I do think he is a quarterback who can get the job done, and he gives the team a good chance to win. But yeah, like I said, right now I'm just thinking of Jacksonville and Denver as potential landing spots for Kirk Cousins. I don't know if I can think of anyone else right now, because I'm sure Kirk Cousins doesn't want to go to a team that's rebuilding. He wants to go to a team where he can win now, and Denver and Jacksonville are those two biggest situations where you can win now. But we're gonna see. Have to wait and see how the offseason plays out. But that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to talk some NBA, talk about the games from last night. So, yeah, pretty much stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. If you missed that last segment, or need a quick reminder, we talked about the Thursday Night Football game. We talked about pretty much where Dallas goes from here if they're able to win these next 2 games, and they got a decent chance actually of making the playoffs because they'll have Zeke back for the last 2 weeks. And if they do make the playoffs, they're going to be a dangerous team just because we all know who the Cowboys are once they have Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. And as for the Redskins, they're probably not going to make the playoffs now. They'd have to win out, obviously, in order to have a chance. But I think it's going to take 10 wins in order to make the playoffs in the NFC. And Washington's best chance of or the most wins they can max out on now is at 9 wins. So I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And we also talked a little bit about where Kirk Cousins can end up next season. I think it's going to be either Jacksonville or Denver, but we're just going to have to wait and see. But as for this segment, we're going to talk some NBA games from Thursday night, talk about Philly versus Boston, Cleveland versus Atlanta, Chicago versus Denver, which was a good one, Milwaukee versus Portland. Portland's a really weird team to me. I don't understand them. Utah versus the Clippers. And then after that, we'll pretty much talk about the games going on for Friday night. We got some good ones going on tonight. For Friday, let's see. We got the Pacers and the Raptors. That's going to be a fun one to watch right there. You would usually think Pistons and Wizards, but no John Wall. So Warriors versus Magic. That might be kind of interesting. It might not be. It depends really. Depends really how those young guys on the Magic do play. And then Kings Bulls. Those are bad teams right there, but. It's always fun to watch those young developing teams like the rookies go at it. So that's going to be a fun one right there. And then Timberwolves and Thunder is going to be a fun one also. But before we even get into those, let's start off with last night's games. We'll do scores and stats like we always do. And then I'll probably talk a little bit about maybe each game. We'll see. But Philly went into Boston. Boston won that one 108-97. Ben Simmons, he went for 15 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds. But Brad Stevens drew up a pretty good game plan in order to keep him pretty quiet. I think through the first half, he only had maybe about 5-7 points, and he really didn't do too much in the second half. But as for Dario Saric, he had 18 points, 10 rebounds. He shot 6 of 16. He was shooting the ball really well yesterday. I didn't get to watch the entire game, but I went on YouTube and watched pretty much all the highlights of the game, every shot. And Saric played well. Let me see his 3-point. He shot 3 of 6 from the 3-point line. So yeah, he had a really good game. JJ Redick had 17 points. Kyrie Irving, he had 36 points, shot 12 of 21. Really big game from him. It looks like beginning of the season, Kyrie was starting off he was playing well, but he wasn't playing up to the standard that we all know he can play to, and that was probably just because he was trying to get used and a little bit integrated into this Boston team. Because, I think Boston only brought the 4 players that they had on last year's team. Yeah, they only brought 4 or 5 players back. I think it was either 4 or 5 or 6. I can't remember exactly, but either way, that's a big overhaul. So it's looking like Kyrie Irving starting to pretty much come into his own and play well with the Celtics now. As for Al Horford, he had 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot 9 of 12 and 2 of 3 from the three-point line. Jason Tatum had 15 points. He shot 6 of 11. He's been probably the second best rookie of the year so far this season. Ben Simmons has obviously been the best. Then you got a guy like Jason Tatum who he doesn't play really like he's a rookie. He doesn't make too many rookie mistakes. Excuse me, but he doesn't make too many rookie mistakes. And he's pretty much, I think, the best thing that could have happened to him was playing for a team like the Celtics, because obviously it's right now still, even with the Cavs being the 3 seed or 2nd seed or whatever it is that they're at right now. I mean, Boston's 19-4, but it's pretty much, in order for Boston to take over as the Kings of the East right there, they're going to have to beat the Cavs in the playoffs, and that's what it's going to take. So right now, this is still the Cavs conference, but I mean, for Tatum to come into a team who's going to be competing for the finals and playing the Eastern Conference Finals most likely, I mean, it's big for him because you don't really have time to be a rookie. What I mean is, like, you don't really have time to make those mistakes or pretty much just act like a rookie. You got to pretty much mature up and you got to get with the program and do well, because if not, they're just going to throw you on the bench because you can't really hold them back from what they're trying to achieve. So yeah, Jason Tatum playing for the Celtics was probably the best thing that could have happened for him, because you never know, like him playing for the Sixers, Lakers, Suns, or anything like that. We're not really sure if he would have been playing this well, because it's pretty much Boston. It's a get in line and do your job type of thing. So we'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, as of right now, I think he's the second best rookie. I mean, who'd be the third best? I think Donovan Mitchell right now is the third best rookie also. And then you can have Kyle Kuzma at number 4, and then I like Larry Markkinen from Chicago at number 5. Those would be my top 5 rookies right now. But Dennis Smith Jr. is knocking on the door in that top 5. And then is there anyone else really that I'm missing? No, I think that would pretty much round it out right there. But yeah, as of right now, it's just Tatum's playing well, and like I said, for the other Celtics other stats, Marcus Morris, I don't know if I said it earlier. I lost my train of thought actually, but he had 17 points and he shot 6 of 11. And once again, Boston won that one, 108-97. As for Cleveland, they went into Atlanta. Cleveland won that one, 121-114. Kevin Love had another big game, 25 points, 16 rebounds. LeBron James had 24 points, 12 assists, 6 rebounds. He shot 8 of 11 in the game. Really good game from him as usual. Jay Crowder finally woke up. He really hasn't been playing how he used to in Boston. I'm not sure if it's just because he's the 4th option, 5th option on that team, but he's really been like a quiet guy on that team. He had 15 points. He shot 6 of 10. Dennis Schroeder had 27 points. He had 5 assists also. Zach Collins had 13 points. This is Atlanta's rookie right here. He had 13 points, 7 rebounds. He shot 6 of 7. He's been plays for the Hawks, and the Hawks are probably one of the worst teams in the league, so Collins really doesn't get too much attention as far as being a rookie, but he's been playing extremely well. Ilyasova for Atlanta had 22 points. He shot 8 of 11. As for Chicago, they went into Denver. Denver won that game. I believe it was 111-110. Larry Markkinen had 20 points, 9 rebounds. Robin Lopez had 20 points, 6 rebounds. Chris Dunn, another good game from him. 19 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot 9 of 11. Gary Harris had a big game, 21 points. Kenneth Faried had 14 points, 13 rebounds. He shot 7 of 10. And then Will Barton off the bench. He had a huge game, 37 points. He shot 13 of 18. Will Barton has been, he really hasn't panned out to what the Nuggets expect him to be. Now he's a guy that comes off the bench, but he's been playing pretty well lately, so we'll see if he can be able to keep it up and at least be that 6-man type of guy. As for Nikolai Jokic, he only played 16 minutes in that one. I'm not sure if he got hurt or just played a little bit of minutes in this one. He had 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. He shot 3 of 6, so I have to double check what happened with him in that game. But as for Milwaukee, they went into Portland, and they pretty much did whatever they wanted against Portland. They won 103-91. Chris Middleton, 26 points, 7 rebounds. He shot 10 of 17. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 20 points, 9 rebounds. He shot 7 of 20, so not all that good of a game from him. Eric Bledsoe had a good game, 25 points, 4 assists. He shot 10 of 17. Damian Lillard was pretty quiet as far as scoring the ball. He only had 18 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He shot 7 of 16 in that game. Joseph Nurkic, I think it's Joseph Nurkic. He had 25 points, 11 rebounds. He shot 9 of 17. And CJ McCollum was also quiet as far as scoring the ball. He only had 15 points, and he shot 7 of 20. As for the Utah Jazz, they're on a bit of a roll right now. They blew out the Nuggets, I think it was 2 days ago, and then they blew out the Clippers last night. They beat the Clippers 126-107. Donovan Mitchell, another big game from him. 24 points, 6 assists, shot 9 of 16. He's really coming into his own right now. Like I said, he's probably the third best rookie in the league, according to me. Jonas Jerebko had 14 points. He shot 6 of 8. Alec Burks, another big game, 28 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot 11 of 17. Austin Rivers had a good game for the Clippers. He scored 25 points, 6 assists, shot 9 of 16. And then Lou Williams had a decent game too. He scored 20 points, 5 assists. Let's see if there was anyone else notable on the Clippers for this game. Let's see what DeAndre Jordan did, actually. DeAndre Jordan only had 8 points, 16 rebounds, though. He shot 3 of 5. Probably all dunks right there. He played 31 minutes, and then there's really no one else notable. I mean, Montrezl Harrell, the fill-in for Blake Griffin since Blake Griffin got hurt, he had 13 points, actually. Montrezl Harrell actually had a good game. I don't know why I overlooked it, but he had 13 points. He only had 3 rebounds, but he did shoot 5 of 5 in 21 minutes, so he played pretty well. But that's going to wrap it up for yesterday's games. Now let's look ahead to the games tonight. First up, we got the Warriors heading into Orlando, facing off with the Magic. My pick for this one is going to be the Warriors. KD and Steph Curry are back, so you're probably going to... Honestly, the Warriors are probably going to blow them out right now. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. Because Orlando's got a young team, but they got talent. The other day they beat the Thunder. I think it was 113-101 or some score like that. So I mean the Magic, they're no pushovers like they used to be. But I think the Warriors are still going to win this one either way. As for Detroit versus Washington, I'm gonna go. This one's in Washington. And Washington's actually been playing not extremely well, but they've been playing as well as you could be without John Wall. Let me see is he back yet? I don't think he is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure John Wall. Or actually, no, John Wall might be back, I think. I can't remember exactly, but if he's back, then I'm going to go with the Wizards in this one. Yeah, if John Wall's playing tonight, I'm going to go with the Wizards. If he's not playing, then I'm going to go with Detroit. I know it's kind of flippy-floppy, but, you know, it's the show. I could pretty much flip-flop, I guess. But, yeah, if John Wall's playing tonight, then I got the Wizards. If not, then I got Detroit. Detroit's currently 14-6, and the Wizards are currently 11-10. And Detroit's only favored for by a point, so I'm pretty sure John Wall's playing tonight. Because if he was, I'm sure Detroit would be favored by a lot more. But let's see, other game for tonight. Let me double check. Go back. All right, we got the Pacers heading into Toronto, facing off with the Raptors. This one's a tough game right here. The Pacers have been playing well. The Pacers they don't have any superstars on their team, but they got a lot of guys who play good team basketball, and I feel like that's what's been best for them so far this season. You got a guy like Victor Oladipo, who is having a monster year so far, playing way better than he did in Oklahoma City last year. Sabonis has been playing well. Collison's been playing well. Miles Turner's doing his thing. And, actually... I'm not sure who I want in this game. I was going to lean towards the Pacers, but you got the Raptors. Kyle Lowry's been playing extremely well. Then you got DeMar DeRozan, who's also been playing well. He's pretty much... is DeMar DeRozan the best shooting guard in the league right now? Am I missing anyone right now? Yeah, I think I'm going to go DeMar DeRozan, unless I'm missing someone. I think he's better than Bradley Beal. I got to be missing someone. There's got to be someone that I'm not thinking about. But as of right now... because I can't think of anyone else. I think DeMar DeRozan is the best shooting guard in the league right now. The best two guard, actually, if you want to call it. That's what everyone's referring to the positions now. But I'm going to go with the Raptors in this. Ooh, I don't know, actually. This one's a tough one. The Pacers play good basketball, but the Raptors have DeRozan and Lowry, and then Valanciunas always plays well too. I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna pick the Pacers in this one. I'm gonna go pick them against the Raptors. We'll see if they let me down or if they prove me right. As for the next game, you got Charlotte heading into Miami. Miami's gonna win this one. I think they're currently on a 2-game losing streak right now. They lost to the Knicks and the Cavs back to back. So actually, the Hornets are also on a losing streak too. But I'm gonna go with the Heat ending their losing streak right now. Or actually, I'm going to go with the Heat. Hassan Whiteside's out, but Bam Adebayo's been playing well. He's the Miami's rookie right now, the rookie center, and like I said, he's been playing extremely well. So I'm going to go with the Heat in this one against the Hornets. Kemba Walker's probably going to have a really big game, but I don't think it's going to be enough to defeat the Heat. Then we got the Kings heading into Chicago, facing off with the Bulls. This one, the Kings, it's always difficult to pick a Kings game because you're not really sure which Kings team is going to show up. You might get the young Kings team, like exactly, that's it, the young Kings team who... is still trying to hit their stride, and they got like a rookie wall they're hitting right now, so they're not really going to play well. Or you can get the Kings team, who is also young, but they're exciting to watch, and they play extremely hard, and they're extremely competitive, so they can always pull out a win on any given day. And against a team like Chicago's been playing well. Chris Dunn's been playing well. Chicago hasn't been winning games, but they've been playing, I guess, decently. They've been competing, but I'm not really sure who I got in this one. I think I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go. Man, this is difficult right here. This is like two of the worst teams in the league playing each other, so you can never really pick them. But I'm gonna go with Chicago at home. I can't trust the Kings to pick them, so I'm gonna go with Chicago at home. Think they're gonna pull it out. That'll get them their 4th win, and that'll give the Kings their 16th loss. As for the Spurs, they're heading into Memphis, facing off with the Grizzlies. They played a couple days ago when Memphis lost to them in San Antonio. I'm going to go with the Spurs again in this one. LaMarcus Aldridge has been playing extremely well. No reason really to pick against the Spurs. The Grizzlies are trying to figure their own thing out now they've fired Dave Fizdale. Or David Fizdale? Dave Fizdale? One of those. I know his last name's Fizdale, though. And there's been talk, too, around Memphis, whether or not they're going to trade Conley or Gasol. I think if either of them are going to get moved, it's going to be Gasol. Because I don't really think anyone wants to take Conley's contract right now, because I think he does have the biggest deal in the league. Can't remember exactly, but yeah, I got the Spurs in that one. The Timberwolves are heading into Oklahoma City, facing off with the Thunder. I'm going to go Timberwolves in this one. I really don't like picking the Thunder at all. They really need to start showing me something in order for me to pick them, because it's pretty much they got those 3 guys, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, and Russell Westbrook, but they really haven't been able to do much with that trio. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Timberwolves in that one. And as for the last game, you got the Pelicans heading into Utah, facing off with the Jazz. I'm going to go with the Pelicans in this one. I think DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis are going to be too much. And then Rondo versus Ricky Rubio. Rondo's going to win that matchup. So right now the Utah Jazz are playing extremely well, but I think the Pelicans are just going to play better tonight. And like I said, I think I'm sure DeMarcus Cousins is going to go for at least 25 points, and then Anthony Davis with at least 20. And I'm sure they're going to dominate on the boards too, since you don't have a guy like Rudy Gobert out there. But we'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, just to recap, I got the Warriors against the Magic. I got the Pistons, or actually I got the Wizards beating the Pistons. I got the Pacers beating the Raptors. I got the Heat beating the Hornets, the Bulls beating the Kings, the Spurs beating the Grizzlies, the Timberwolves beating the Thunder, and the Pelicans beating the Jazz. So we'll see if I can go 100% on my picks tonight, but probably won't. So we'll see how it all goes. Next up, we're going to do some picks for Week 13 in the NFL. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA, from the UFC to extreme cage fighting. They got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. In that last segment, we talked about the NBA games from last night. We talked about the Jazz, we talked about the Bucks, we talked about Denver, we talked about Cleveland, we talked about Boston and Philly. So it was a fun segment. I always love talking about the NBA too, because there's just so much. There's like the NBA right now, it's at its peak, you know? The NBA, like, it has not, like, as far as, like people talking about it, social media, the talent, all that other good stuff, like, you know, it's just the teams right now. It has never been, like, as good as it is now, okay? Yeah, I know people from the 90s want to talk about, oh, our era was better, and you know what? I have my opinion, you have yours, but for being real here, if you think about it, I mean, who's stopping Kevin Durant in the 90s? I mean, who's stopping LeBron? I mean, I know you guys got Jordan, you got Patrick Ewing, you got Scottie Pippen. Who else? You got guys like Gary Payton, you know, Penny Hardaway, and Shaq. But I don't know. I think I used to think too that the '90s had the best NBA era, but I'm starting to come around on this new era in the NBA. You just got to take some time to think about it, and you'll soon too realize that, you know what, NBA's at its peak right now. Talent's never been as good as it was now. And again, I'm not trying to say the talent in the 90s was bad or anything like that. I think Michael Jordan is the best player of all time. It's close, though. I mean, LeBron's right behind him. Oh, I'm going to do one. Kobe is not a top 5 player either, just throwing that out there. But, yeah, I think Michael Jordan, he's the best player of all time right now, and LeBron's right behind. I mean, both eras had really good talent, but nonetheless, that's all I got to say about that. For this new segment, we're going to be picking some NFL games from Week 13. You guys ready to get into it? Yeah, let's get into it. I'm ready. All right, Minnesota heading into Atlanta. I got Minnesota in this one. Atlanta's at home, so I mean, they'd probably be the safer pick, because they're also favored by 3 points in this game too. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Minnesota in this. Though in this one, Minnesota's the better team, and Case Keenum's been playing well. Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon have been playing well. You got Adam Thielen, who's been playing well, top 10 receiver for sure. Stephon Diggs is doing his thing, and then you got that defense who's been playing extremely well this season too. Atlanta right now, that offense is starting to take shape. They're starting to play a lot better than how they were. The defense has always been playing good. I think Trufant's out. Desmond Trufant, I think their cornerback is out. And I just think honestly it's going to be a close game, but I think Minnesota is going to be the better team and be able to pull it out. So yeah, I got Minnesota in that one. As for Denver, Miami, this one's going to pain me, but I got the Broncos in this one right now. Miami just really hasn't done enough to show me that they can compete. They've been playing extremely poor. Okay, Jay Cutler's going to be back this week. It doesn't do anything for me right there. I mean, Matt Moore's going to be out, so David Fells is going to be the backup. It's pretty much that offense for Miami has just been a dumpster fire the entire season. The defense started off hot, but it's like, now, what's the point? I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's all up to the offense. So right now, I can't really trust Miami enough to pick them against Denver. And Denver's a bad team too, but I think this is going to be one of the few games where Denver's defense shows up. Because the last few games, they've been terrible, but I think they're going to be like, oh yeah, we're playing the Dolphins. You know what? Let's go ahead and let's show up for this game, you know? And we're just going to see how it is. It's going to be a low-scoring game, that's for sure. It could go either way. I mean, like it's a pick 'em game right here. It could go either way, but I'm just going to go Denver right here because Miami they're on a 4-game losing streak. They gave me the offense just gives you no hope, you know? As for the next game, Detroit heading into Baltimore. I got Detroit in this one. Baltimore's favored. Baltimore's got the better defense, but you know what? Detroit's going to be able to put up at least 14 to 17 points, and that's going to be enough because Joe Flacco and Cole and that offense are not going to be able to put up that many points. I don't think. The offense is brutal. Okay, I still think Baltimore is the team that'll probably make the playoffs, I think, and I think they'll make some noise. But as for this game, Detroit really needs it. Okay, Detroit needs a win right here to keep up with the Falcons and Seattle and pretty much keep up for that wild card race is what I'm talking about. But yeah, I like Detroit in this one. I think Matt Stafford's going to do enough to get him the win. As for New England at Buffalo, rivalry game, you know? Tyrod Taylor's back playing quarterback. No more Nathan Peterman. That experiment didn't work out. And Tyrod Taylor doesn't turn the ball over, but he doesn't do enough at the quarterback position to score. He just puts his teams in position to win. And New England's defense, that's a team right there where they give up a lot of yards. Oh, yeah, by the way, for this game, I'm picking New England. I don't think I made that clear before, but I'm picking New England for this game. All right. But I was saying, okay, with New England's defense, they give up they're one of the teams who give up the most yards per game on defense. So, but they don't, man, I'm drawing blanks right here, but they don't give up too many points at all, really. I think they keep it under 17 a game for their defense. So, yeah, I got New England in this one. I think Tom Brady's going to go out and do his thing. Maybe it'll snow. Maybe it won't. Maybe that'll affect Tom Brady. Maybe it won't. Doubt it will. But, yeah, I think Tom Brady's going to go out and throw 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, probably throw for around 280 yards around there. And Gronk's going to have a touchdown. Brandon Cooks will have a touchdown. And then one of those running backs is going to have a touchdown too. So I got New England in that one big time. I think New England's favored by 9 points in that game. But either way, favored or not favored, doesn't matter. I think New England's going to pull it out, and they'll cover too, I think. So as for the next game, this one is going to be brutal. Unless you're a fan of either of these teams, you're probably not going to be watching. I am talking about the good old San Francisco 49ers heading into Chicago to face off with the Bears. But I've got Chicago in this one. I like Mitch Trubisky a lot. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to do fine, but I really don't trust rookie quarterbacks in their first start. I know this isn't Jimmy Garoppolo's first start. It's going to be his third, but specifically speaking about him and with the 49ers, this will be his first start with the team, and I'm not sure exactly how like his chemistry with the receivers or how acclimated he is to the playbook. And plus, I think Jordan Howard for the Bears running back, I think he's going to have a huge game. I think that's what's going to set the difference right here, be the difference actually between these two teams. I think Jordan Howard's going to play well. That San Francisco defense is going to give Mitch Trubisky fits, but I'm going to take the Bears at home. These are two bad teams right here, but like I said, I'm going to take the Bears at home. And plus, the Bears have a quick and scrappy defense also, so we're going to see how it plays out. But once again, I got the Bears. Let's see. You got Tampa Bay heading into Green Bay. I hope my Dub Bears thing is good. Hope you guys like that. But I got Tampa Bay heading into Green Bay. It's gonna be a fun one. Just kidding. It probably won't be. I got Green Bay in this one. Okay. I mean, Tampa Bay. They got usually when you got a bad team playing against another bad team. Such as teams like these. I mean, Jameis Winston, he's going to be back, and I'm not sure how that shoulder is going to be, and I'm not sure how Brett Hundley's going to play after that big game against the Steelers. I mean, he's looking like a hit or miss. He's been miss, and then he's been hit. So let's see how he is against Tampa Bay's defense. Tampa Bay's defense really hasn't been good all season. They've been extremely bad, actually. They're one of the worst defenses in the league by far, but I'm gonna go with the Packers in this one because I think Brett Hundley's gonna be able to do enough. Devontae Adams has been that security blanket for Brett Hundley this season, and it's really been helping my fantasy team, so I appreciate that. But Packers got Jamal Williams too. I think he's gonna have a big game. That was one of my bigger sleepers in the offseason. No one's really talking about him, but I mean, when you got a receiver playing running back in Ty Montgomery, I'm not trying to take away from Montgomery's talent ability either. I think he's a great athlete, but it's like one of those things where like he's your running back, but is he really your running back? You know, it's like one of those things like if he doesn't play well, he's going to get pulled instantly. And then they threw Jamal Williams in there, and boom, the guy's playing extremely well. So, yeah, I got the Packers in this one. I think Jamal Williams is going to have a big game, and I think the Lambeau crowd and that Green Bay defense is going to do enough to throw Tampa Bay off their game. As for the next game, we got Indianapolis heading into Jacksonville. This needs to be, if you're not a Colts fan, you should be picking the Jaguars, as am I. There's really no reason to pick against the Jaguars in this one, other than you think Blake Bortles is just going to have a game to where you know what, it's impossible for the Jaguars to win, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to pull it out. Defense is probably going to score a touchdown at least, going to have a lot of sacks. Corners are probably going to come up with a couple. I don't know about interceptions, actually, though. Jacoby Brissett, he's a smart quarterback. He's a Bill Belichick quarterback, you know? He's not going to make mistakes. He's not going to throw for 300 yards. I mean, I'm not saying that's how all Bill Belichick quarterbacks are. I'm specifically speaking about how he doesn't throw interceptions or make mistakes, but Jacoby Brissett himself, specifically speaking, he's not going to be a guy who throws for over 300 yards or anything like that, but I just don't think he's going to be able to do enough against this Jacksonville defense really at all in order to put them in a position to win. So I got Jacksonville in this one. Next up, it's Kansas City heading into New York, facing off with the Jets. I'm going to surprise some people right here. I got the Jets, Jets in this game. I don't like Kansas City in this one at all. I don't trust Kansas City. I gave up on them last week. This week, I think Josh McCown and Robbie Anderson are going to have big games. And Kansas City right now, they're free falling. I don't think they have a solution as to how they fix this. So, yeah, I got the Jets in this one. Like I said, I really just don't trust Kansas City. I don't like Alex Smith right now. Guy turned into the San Francisco 49er, Alex Smith. Not the one that was there for the last year. Was he good for 2 years there or for 1 year? I think it was just good for 1 year. Then he got the concussion. Then, boom, Colin Kaepernick happens. But, yeah, he's looking like the old 49ers Alex Smith, and when you're looking like the old 49ers Alex Smith, I mean, Tyreek Hill isn't going to play well, Travis Kelce isn't going to play well, and Kareem Hunt, whatever happened to that guy? I think he might have been injured. Like, he's been playing, but I think he might be nursing an injury, but nonetheless, doesn't matter. You're out there, go do your job. Hasn't been able to, so I got the Jets in this one. Next up, you got Houston heading into Tennessee. I got Tennessee in this one. Tom Savage, don't like him as a quarterback. He's probably a good guy, but like I said, don't like him as a quarterback. He's probably going to throw a couple of interceptions. And Marcus Mariota, he's been putting his teams in position to win. Like, they're 7-4 as far as fantasy football goes. He's probably been a disappointment for you, as he's been a disappointment for me. Derrick Henry, DeMarco Murray are kind of some weird running backs. I mean, some days they look good, some days they don't. So we're just gonna see how it all plays out for them. But I just think Houston just isn't good enough, that good of a team in order to knock off Tennessee. So I got Tennessee in this one. Cleveland heading into Los Angeles. Almost said San Diego, but yeah, Cleveland heading into Los Angeles, facing off with the Chargers. This is my risky pick right here. You know who I got? I got the Cleveland Browns. I'm not picking with my head in this one. I'm picking with my gut. Josh Gordon's back. Corey Coleman's out there. Isaiah Correll's had a good couple of games. And I think DeShone Kizer is going to benefit big time from Josh Gordon and Corey Coleman being out there. I remember there was a time this season when Ricardo Lewis was his best receiver. So, yeah, I got the Browns in this one. There's no reason to pick against the Chargers, really. Okay, if you're talking logically and all that, yeah, Chargers, easy pick. Don't overthink it, anything like that. It's the Chargers, okay? But for some reason, last year the Chargers the Chargers did give the Browns their first win of the season last year. And I think it's going to happen again this year. And you know what? Yesterday's podcast, I think I was talking about how I think the Chargers are going to be a playoff team. And you know what? They still probably be able to pull it out. But I'm just going to go with the Browns in this one, okay? I got the Browns. I think Josh Gordon, he's starting. Hugh Jackson looks like he has some big plans for him. So, yeah, I got the Browns. Josh Gordon out there is going to just be a big momentum shift for the Browns, I feel. Another great game out here. We got Carolina heading into New Orleans. I got the Saints in this one, okay? Don't trust Cam Newton. Or actually, Cam Newton will probably have a good game against this defense, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep up with Drew Brees, and that's going to be the biggest factor right there. Carolina's got a guy like Christian McCaffrey, but New Orleans has a better guy in Alvin Kamara, and they got Mark Ingram, and they got Michael Thomas, and they got Ted Ginn, who's been playing well. So I think it's going to be that New Orleans offense. It's going to be a shootout, sort of a shootout, but Carolina's not going to be able to keep up, I don't think. So I got New Orleans in that one. As for the Rams, they're heading into Arizona facing off with the Cardinals. This is an easy pick for me right here. I got the Rams in this one big time. Jared Goff going to have a big game. Todd Gurley's going to have a good game. They're going to hold Adrian Peterson to low rushing yards, and Blaine Gabbert's not going to be able to do much against this defense. So, yeah, no reason to pick against the Rams. I get the Rams. As for New York, the Giants, they're heading into Oakland. New York, I got a problem with you because you've done my boy Eli. All right, not good. So I got the Raiders in this one either way. Even if Eli Manning was a starting quarterback, I'd still pick the Raiders. But no Michael Crabtree in this one. Hoping Jared Cook gets a lot of the ball, balls thrown to him. I need him in fantasy football. Hopefully he does well. But yeah, I got the Raiders in this one right now. The Giants are in shambles. Geno Smith is not the answer, and I think that they're holding off this week for Geno Smith in order to start Davis Webb the week after. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I got Oakland in this game. Then for Sunday night, you got Philadelphia. Actually, let me preview this one a little bit, okay? We'll talk a little bit more. We got Philadelphia heading into Seattle right now. Seattle's going to be without Cam Chancellor for the rest of the season, and Richard Sherman. Obviously, he was injured a couple weeks back. But I got who do I got in this one, you guys? I'm gonna go with the Eagles, okay? I'm going to play it safe in this. I don't even know if this is playing it safe either, because you know what? It's hard to beat a team like the Seahawks in Seattle, obviously, but I'm going to go with Philly in this one, okay? I'm going to ride the Philly bandwagon, okay? I think they're going to pull out the win right here. Carson Wentz is going to have a big game. I feel it's going to be a shootout. This is going to be a shootout right here for sure, I think. It's going to be one of those 32 or 31 to 28 type of games right here, okay? It's going to be Carson Wentz versus Russell Wilson. It's going to be the best game of the weekend, I feel. But, yeah, I got Philly in this one. It's going to be a fun one. And then we got Monday night. We got Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati. I got the Steelers. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one. Cincinnati's 5-6. They've been playing well, but I just think right now you can't really stop Le'Veon Bell. You definitely can't stop Antonio Brown. Actually, he sat out today's practice, which is Thursday's practice, with a little minor injury, I think it is. I think it's a little precaution. Yeah, he got a toe injury, okay? Yeah, he didn't practice. It's considered minor, but who knows? Maybe Mike Tomlin will keep him out like he did to Juju Smith-Schuster. Hopefully he doesn't. I need Antonio Brown in fantasy football, but nonetheless, I think Ben Roethlisberger in that offense is going to be able to do enough against Andy Dalton and co. So, yeah, I got the Steelers in that one. And that's going to wrap it up for my Week 13 picks. Just a quick rundown for who I got again. I got Minnesota beating Atlanta. Denver beating Miami. That's a toss-up, though, right there. I got Detroit beating Baltimore. New England beating Buffalo. Chicago beating San Francisco. Green Bay beating Tampa Bay. Jacksonville beating Indianapolis. The Jets beating Kansas City. Tennessee beating Houston. The Browns beating the Chargers. New Orleans beating Carolina. I got the Rams beating Arizona. The Giants beating, or not the Giants, I got Oakland beating the Giants, and I got Philly beating Seattle, and once again, I got Pittsburgh beating the Cincinnati Bengals. So we're going to see how it all plays out. Hopefully I go 100%. If I don't, oh well. But next up, we're going to talk Tiger Woods. We're going to talk Jimbo Fisher. We're going to talk Tennessee football. And we're going to talk the World Cup. The groups are now announced, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, talk about the group of death, and pretty much talk about, maybe I'll give my early picks, my way too early picks for who's going to make it out each group. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. Man, this intro song is really loud, but yeah, welcome back to the podcast. That last segment we talked about, I made my Week 13 picks, actually. We talked about each game, pretty much gave a reason as to why I'm picking each team, and you know how it usually goes for the picks. Usually, I'm mostly right, but we'll see how it goes for this week. But as for this segment, we're going to talk Tiger Woods. We're going to talk Jimbo Fisher. He got a big old contract from Texas A&M. And then we're going to talk about Tennessee for a bit, and then we'll talk about the World Cup draw. That's actually I'm really looking forward to talking about the World Cup, though, because World Cup's by far my favorite tournament in the history of all sports. It's just crazy to watch and just fun. But yeah, let's talk about Tiger Woods. So he's finished up his second round today. I believe last time I checked, he was at a -7, I think it was, or -8. But either way, he was in sole possession of first place. Look at Tiger Woods, man. I was doubting him, and you know what? He's out here, and he's showing. Maybe it was the injuries, obviously it was the injuries that were holding him back, but I was also thinking too, you know what, Tiger's old, he's probably washed up, and you know what, maybe it was just solely the injuries that were holding him back, and that's what it's looking like so far. I mean, it's only 2 rounds, so we have to see how it all plays out, but as of right now, Tiger Woods has been playing extremely well, so I mean, hopefully he picks it up. I'm a guy who roots for Tiger, you know, I mean, like I was talking about in the last couple of podcasts, I think it was, whenever I watched golf before, I mean, I haven't really watched it lately or anything like that, but whenever I tuned in, it was just to watch Tiger Woods, because that's the LeBron James of golf right there. That's the Tom Brady of football, and that's who's the top guy in baseball? I mean, Mike Trout? No, it's the Bryce Harper of baseball too right there. Okay, because Bryce Harper, I mean, Mike Trout and Bryce Harper, I know I'm getting a little off topic right now, but let's talk about Bryce Harper and Mike Trout for a little bit. Mike Trout, I feel like it's crazy how you go from talking about Tiger Woods and then he just pretty much bridges you off to talking about Mike Trout and Bryce Harper. But yeah, get a quick little note about those two. Mike Trout is by far the best player in the MLB, but Bryce Harper is more of a marketable type of player, and he's not far off in talent, so that's why Bryce Harper gets most of the hype and why he's considered one of the best. Obviously, he is one of the best, but usually he gets considered as the best. But all right, that's all I got to say about that. But back to Tiger Woods. Yeah, he's just one of the reasons why I used to watch golf, or at least tune into it. I'd never watched a full tournament or anything like that, but when Tiger Woods was out there, I'd usually check in and see how he was doing. I'll watch for probably about 15 minutes or so. And yeah, 15 minutes, that's me watching golf right there. Sorry to say it, but it is what it is. But yeah, Tiger Woods, it's good to see him playing well. Let's head to college football for a little bit. Look at Jimbo Fisher. My gosh, that guy got a huge contract. 10 years, I think it was $85 million, I think. 10 years, 75 or $85 million. Nonetheless, highest contract in college football history for a coach. The guy, I'm not jealous, but man, I wish I was, how do you say, college football coach. These guys are getting paid so much money to just coach for 3 years. I mean, in reality, yeah, you got your Nick Sabans out there, and you got, who else has been out there as long as he has coaching their team? Has it just been Nick Saban out there? I mean, Gus Malzahn's been out at Auburn for a while, I feel. And let's see who else. It's pretty much interchangeable constantly. So, I mean, it's just crazy to see a coach get $75 million to coach. You know, it's just I mean, people in the NFL don't even get those kind of contracts, the players. And the coaches for sure, I'm almost positive, don't get those kind of contracts either. I don't have to double check, but I'm almost 1,000% positive that coaches in the NFL do not get paid like this. If I'm a coach in the NFL, I'm thinking, maybe I got to head down to I'm drawing a blank. Head down to college football and coach there, because those are the guys who are getting paid. If I'm John Gruden, I'm never coming back for an NFL job. If I'm ever coming back, I'm coming back for a college football coaching job. Because you know what, John Gruden, he'd get paid so much more money, and it's just incredible to see how these guys get paid. But we're gonna see how it all ends up for him, because he had Jameis Winston, they had Ricky Jean from Francois at Florida State. So when Francois went down in the beginning of the season against Alabama, I mean, Florida State's offense or whole team pretty much went down. So it's were the quarterbacks helping out Jimbo Fisher, or is he actually a good coach? Personally, I think he's a good coach, but we're gonna see how it all plays out for Jimbo. But as for Tennessee, let me see. I got a nice little nugget for you guys. So they fired John Curry, who was their athletic director, and this is all from Brett McMurphy. He's a reporter out there, and he reported that Tennessee fired John Curry because he was prepared to hire Mike Leach, and I know most of us saw that Mike Leach was going to be, or it was looking like he was going to be the next guy up to coach Tennessee. But Philip Fulmer, who is now the new athletic director, now that Curry got fired, Fulmer was made the athletic director today, probably a couple hours after they fired the original athletic director. McMurphy tweeted out that Fulmer has been sabotaging the search process in order to become Tennessee's new athletic director. And again, I'm just repeating what this guy said, Brett McMurphy, and he is a college football reporter. And he used to work, I think he does work for ESPN, or he used to, but this is just what his report. Okay, I'm not sure. The facts are that John Curry was fired. Okay, Mike Leach was going to be the guy that they were hiring. John Curry gets fired, and Philip Fulmer is the new athletic director, okay? As far as him sabotaging the process, not sure how true it is. I'm just reporting or telling you guys what I'm seeing, okay? But as far as that, Philip Fulmer is the new athletic director, and right now, Tennessee, this whole searching process for a coach for Tennessee has been about it's been poor. How do you mess this up so badly, It's just, now I saw a couple, or yesterday actually it was, that they're going to think about, or they're trying to go after Kevin Sumlin. That'd be a good hire right there. I like Sumlin as a coach, but it's just going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Who's going to be Fulmer's guy? We're going to find out. But other than that, I really want Lane Kiffin there just for the chaos, and plus something to talk about on the show. But we're going to see how it all plays out. But once again, Tennessee fired their new AD and hired Philip Fulmer a couple hours after that. So draw whatever conclusions you want from that. But let's talk some World Cup. They did the draw this morning for the group stage, and we have a couple of groups that can be considered group of death. So let's just get into it. In Group A, you got Russia, obviously, as the host. Then you got Saudi Arabia, you got Egypt, and you got Uruguay. Again, I'm going to go through each group, name the teams in each group, and then after that, I'm going to do my way too early for predictions for who's going to get out the group. For Group B, you got it's a tough group right here. I guess not a tough group. There's two tough teams in it, I should say. You got Portugal, then you got Spain, you got Morocco, and then you got Iran. In Group C, you got France, Australia, Peru, and Denmark. Group D, you got Argentina, Iceland, Croatia, Nigeria. Group E, you got Brazil, Switzerland, Costa Rica, and Serbia. In Group F, you got Germany, Mexico, Sweden, and South Korea. In Group G, you got Belgium, Panama, Tunisia. Am I pronouncing that right? Yeah, Tunisia, England. Okay. In Group H, you got Poland, Senegal, Colombia, and Japan. So overall, these are some pretty good groups. Russia's group is pretty easy. Let's see, anyone else got an easy group? France has a fairly easy group, pretty much those are the two easiest groups. But for the group of death, I'm kind of torn. It's either Group E with Brazil, Switzerland, Costa Rica, or Serbia, or Group D with Argentina, Iceland, Croatia, Nigeria, or Group F with Germany, Mexico, Sweden, and South Korea. I think I'm going to go with Group D as the group of death here. Okay, because obviously you got Argentina and they got Lionel Messi, they got Dybala, they got Aguero, they got Higuain, they got pretty much any great attacker they got on their team, okay? And their defense has been kind of suspect the last decade or so. I mean, Argentina really doesn't produce the best of defenders. I mean, they got guys like Otamendi and Mascherano and people like that, but I mean, they're not really world class, I guess, I wouldn't say. I mean, they're good defenders, but like I said, they're not like the Sergio Ramoses or anything like that, PKs or anyone like that. But yeah, I think that's gonna go with my group of death right there at Group D. But let's pick which two teams are gonna advance out of each group. So in Group A, I'm gonna go with Uruguay. Obviously, they're the best team in the group, and I'm not going to go with Russia. I'm going to go with Egypt coming out of it, okay? Mohamed Salah from Liverpool, he plays for Egypt, and that guy's been the best player in the English Premier League by far this season. The guy's just tearing it up. So I think Uruguay and Egypt are going to come out of that Group A. As for Group B, it's just an easy pick for me. I'm going to go Portugal and Spain. Portugal, whenever you got Ronaldo, you got a chance. And Spain, they're going to want to come back and pretty much come back stronger than how they did in that 2014 World Cup. That was embarrassing from Spain. Spain, before that, was considered the best team in the world, possibly the best team of all time with those group of players that they had. So they're going to have to prove something in this World Cup. I think Portugal and Spain are going to come out as the two that come out of their group, obviously. And then Group C, I'm going to pick France and Denmark. Denmark's got Christian Eriksen. He plays for Tottenham Hotspur in the English Premier League, and I think that he's going to play well in this World Cup. And no, I'm not even going to talk about Peru. I was thinking maybe Peru, but that's more of like a Cinderella story type of team if they make it out the group. But yeah, I'm going to go France and Denmark out of Group C. Then in Group D, I'm going to go Argentina, and I'm going to go Nigeria, okay? Most are probably going to pick Argentina and Croatia. But Nigeria, I love the way Nigeria play, okay? They're a fast team, but they're also strong. And that's like their style of play right there. They're fast and they're strong, so it's really hard for you to pretty much dominate Nigeria just because of how they play. And they're athletic, and they got plenty of good players too. So yeah, I'm gonna go Nigeria and Argentina. And then in Group B, I'm gonna go Brazil and Costa Rica. Brazil, obviously, I mean, look at the talent they got on that squad. And then Costa Rica, the second best team in CONCACAF right now. Sorry, US, but they're probably US. I don't even want to talk about U.S. I'm not even going to try and talk bad about them or anything like that. But Brazil and Costa Rica are going to make it out. Costa Rica's got Keylor Navas back in goal. And that Costa Rica team plays good team soccer too. So we're going to see how they do. But yeah, I got Brazil and Costa Rica coming out of Group E. Group F, I got Germany and Mexico. This is gonna be a group right here. It's gonna tell you a lot about Mexico. Obviously, we know what kind of team Germany is, but as far as Mexico goes, it's been talked about how they get results, but when it comes to the big time and playing the best teams, they kind of falter, and it's been kind of true. I mean, against Chile, they had that 7-0 result. That one hurt. Actually, just talking about that right there, I was at that game. But I had to witness that debacle right there. But yeah, 7-0 right there. And then they've lost to Germany. I think they lost to Portugal in the third place game in the Confederations Cup. So we're going to see how they play against Germany. Against Belgium, actually, in their last friendly, I think it was a couple weeks ago. They drew with Belgium 3-3. So we're going to see how it is for Mexico. But yeah, it's going to tell us a lot about this team. But once again, I got Germany and Mexico coming out of Group F. As for Group G, I got Belgium and England. England usually tends to let people down, but I mean, this group isn't good enough for them to let you down. I'm saying that now, but watch, they're going to do it. But yeah, I got Belgium and England. And then let's see, as for Group H, the final group, I got Colombia, and I'm kind of torn. Do I want Japan or do I want Poland? I think I'm going to go Poland. Robert Lewandowski is going to be leading the attack. I think Colombia is going to win that group. So yeah, I got Colombia and Poland coming out of that group. And once it gets closer to World Cup time, we'll do more predictions. We'll talk about round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and who I think is going to win. But as of right now, those are the teams who I think are going to make it out their groups. Quick rundown. I'm going to go Uruguay and Egypt out of Group A, Portugal, Spain out of Group B, France and Denmark out of Group C, Argentina and Nigeria out of Group D, Brazil and Costa Rica out of Group E. Group F, I got Mexico and Germany making it out. Group G, I got Belgium and England making it out. And finally, for Group H, once again, I got Colombia and Poland making it out. But so that's all I got to say about the World Cup. But that's actually going to wrap it up for today's show. This was a fun one throughout. We talked about the Thursday night football game in the first segment. After that, we talked about the NBA as we usually do. I made my Week 13 picks, and in this segment, we talked about Tiger Woods, his good round of golf. Right now, he should be in first place right now, I believe it was. I'm not sure how it's changed since the round's been going on all day, and I haven't been able to check it since I've been doing the podcast. But Yeah, and then you got Tennessee firing their AD, hiring a new one hours after Jimbo Fisher got his big contract, and then the World Cup is upon us. We talked about the group, and I gave my who I think is going to make it out. So that's going to wrap it up for today's show. This was a fun one throughout. Once again, this is the GSMC Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Tapia, and we'll talk to you on Tuesday. So stay tuned, and we'll see you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.